just got home from my daytime job, and look what was waiting for me in the shop. Yep, another beautiful Fender amp, but it's undercover. I wonder what the model is. What do you think it is? Well, let's see. Could it be another Super Reverb in need of repair? Let me tell you what's going on with it. Well, here's the story on this Fender Super Reverb that hit D-Lab's dock. The guy contacted me through reverb.com messages, and actually that is a good way to get a hold of me these days, because when I'm at my day job I can't get to my home emails. Anyway, he recently acquired this amp, and when he fired it up he noticed that there's quite a bit of background noise and hiss and some little pops going on. He also noticed that his tremolo is running too fast. So he brought it by here on his way to Chicago, dropped it at D-Lab. I'm going to try to fix it and have it ready for him when he returns. So I'm going to go through the amp, we'll check those items and see what else may be lingering in the background. So here we go. So I just powered her up. You can see here the control panel is in excellent condition on the amp. Nice black face, Super Reverb. But anyway, she's powered up, so let's take a listen to it. There's a little bit of hiss. Let me tap on the tubes. Start over here in the preamp section. I'm just kind of going down the line, moving them. That's the inverter tube. You got a thump thump. That's one of the output tubes. So we got a little bit of microphonics going. But I'm also hearing something in the rear of the amp. I'm going to turn it around, stick the camera right in there so you can hear it. Now here we are backside. It's got the original speakers installed. That's very cool. But I want to zero in on some other noise I'm hearing. Get right here and take a listen. Hear that rattle rattle? Seems to change when I hit the rectifier tube. So we may have bad connections in the base of the tube, or may have something mechanically going on in it. Then this one is the one you can hear in the speaker. Take a listen. So that ain't good, because those are some old beautiful RCAs. Inverter tubes are here. Kaboomy, right? So we definitely got some noise going on in here, right? So the next thing I'm obviously going to do is get this chassis out, give her an inspection. Topside inspection, I've already removed the cap cover, and you can see that the filters have been replaced. So that's a good thing. It has the original output transformer, also a very good thing. Original choke, but it appears as though this power transformer has been replaced. This one has some overspray on it here. Got a nice dent here. Don't know how that happened. Anyway, let's flip her and take a look at the bottom side, see what else is going on. Alright, bottom side. Yep, sure looks like this is not the original power transformer. And I don't know why we have all this electrical tape in here. We're going to have to figure that out. But it appears as though it's been installed okay. There's a new negative bias cap there. The eyelet board has several capacitors replaced. Still has those ceramics that I'm not a big fan of. So it's kind of a mix of the old guys and some new ones. But luckily the grid caps have been replaced. So whoever did this knew the importance of getting those leakers out of there. Let's take a look at this thing from a different angle. Well, this power transformer does not have the center tap on the filament leads, so somebody has added the little 100 ohm resistors down here on the back side of the lamp for hum balance, right? Now over here I noticed it still has the old original screen resistors, and we know what happens to those, right? They go way out of tolerance. So we need to check those. Other than that, the sockets all look original. That's a good thing. And somebody added the 1 ohm current shunts. So who's ever in here before had the right ideas and did fairly decent work. Some of these solder connections are a little overkill. Kind of the bigger the glob, the better the job. But I'm going to go through and inspect those very carefully, especially in the tremolo area, because he has a complaint that that's running too fast. So before I get in here and start prodding around with my meter, we want to make sure that power supply is discharged. You can see she's pretty low. It's only like 11 volts. But we can take the old D-Lab Magic discharge accessory, pop it on there across my meteroid, drain that power supply. Then I'll feel a little bit safer when I'm doing ohm checks. Alright, so for the heck of it, let's check the screen resistors. So here's the first one. Should be 470. It's at 508. Acceptable. Go over here to the next one. It's 495. So at least they're not baked. First thing I need to do is get rid of this rattle. I suspect it's that tube right there, because when I touched it, the pitch changed. So let's replace the rectifier tube. Not too hot there. Pop in another one. This is a Savtech 5AR4. I've had very good luck with these tubes. Give things a chance to warm up, and we'll flip on the standby. Okay, here we go. So that is with the new rectifier tube. Seems to have solved that problem. Let's take a look at the old one. See those pins of the tube? How the solder's kind of like gone. They probably got hot and the solder seeped down into the tube socket, and the little wires that go up into there, they're probably not bonded the way they used to be. Some people say, well, you can just resolder them, but I've had bad luck with that. So we're going to leave the Savtech in and return that one to the owner. Alright, next we need to find out the source of noise on the inverter tube. That is a Jan Sylvania type 12A-T7. So we'll swap that out, but first I'll put it on a scope so we can see what it does to the noise. I've killed the lights so we can see the noise on the scope when I'm touching things. We know that the inverter tube was sensitive, so I'm going to tap on it, take a look at the scope. You can see that big time, right? And then one of these output tubes, I think, is that one. See him too. But since we know the inverter tube is the most sensitive of the two, let's swap it out. This is a 12AT7. I have a Sylvania here that I think is new old stock. Get him in. Bring the amp back up. Just tap on it, same way we did with the other one. So, tapping away, nothing. So I would say that other one was microphonic. Now let's go back to that output tube. He still has a little bit. I'm going to tap on the other one. See, the other one doesn't have that sensitivity. This one does. We're not going to worry about that right now. Next I'm going to do a noise floor test on this thing. So we're going to bring it up and look at the low level hum coming off the amp with the volume all the way down. Okay? So let me make sure the volume is all the way down. I'll cut back. Yep, volume's all the way down. So same deal. I'm going to go through here and just kind of tap on these tubes, see if we have any big time sensitivity. Remember, the volume's all the way down, so these preamp tubes shouldn't be getting signal, okay? So everything that I'm tapping on is sensitive, right? So that would tell me that the noise is not a tube at this point. It's probably something on the eyelet board, a loose ground, etc. See that? So now let's flip it upside down, take a look at the eyelet board. Alright, I had to turn the lights back on because at this point I've got high voltages exposed. I need to go around here and tap around the board. But if you look at the scope, you'll see a lot of sensitivity. I'm just tapping on the eyelet board. A lot of sensitivity. Now the first thing I'm seeing that I don't like are these grounds. Take a look at these ground connections. See how the solder's just sitting on top? The leads are kind of just there with a crack right there. This is because inadequate heat was used when these connections were soldered, right? So if I were to take this one, look at the scope, right? So I need to resolder the grounds. Then I'm going to go down this board. I'm going to touch every component and watch that scope. You see there's a lot of sensitivity, especially right in here. In this area right here, it's really bad. Watch the scope. See that? So we got something like super loose right in here. So I'm going to go through and resolder some things. So who do you call when you have some big gigantic soldering to do? That's right, Mr. Snozzeramus.
Light up an old ghoul.
Heat them babies up.
A lot of people wonder where ghouls come from.
The old Unger does light work of those solder connections.
A lot of ghouls come from Portugal.
Simple. I'm monitoring the current through one of the output tubes through the shunts that they installed earlier. I found that the two input preamp tubes were extremely microphonic. This one here has no identification on it, so I don't know where that one was made, but this was a Sovtech here. Now I've replaced those. I have very little sensitivity now on the eyelet board, and that output tube still has a little bit of thump to it. I'm going to discuss with the owner if he wants me to put in some new 6L6s, but the noise level issue is gone. So the next thing I need to check is the tremolo. So here's a quick check of the tremolo circuit. I'm injecting a tone using an audio generator. I've got the shorting plug installed on the amp, and I'm going to bring up the intensity so you can see it pulsating. Okay. So let's bring up the speed. So the speed of that tremolo from low to high looks normal to me. So I don't believe we have to do anything with that. And here's our normal channel operating. Now you can still see that tremolo and they're bouncing a little bit. It's a common issue with these guys. So you pull out that plug. That won't fool me. And here's my tone controls. You can see she's nice and clean. And look how dead quiet it is when it's all the way down. Here's our post checkout after the repair. I have the amp on, and if you remember, there was quite a bit of hiss. She is dead quiet. Bring up the volume here. Super dead quiet. Obviously we had some tube issues. Now let's inject a signal with my audio generator, because I don't play guitar. So there's that, right? So audio coming in. Now let's verify the tremolo. Make sure that's working. So that's good. Now let's check the reverb circuit. So I'm going to have to get over here and play my audio generator. we go. So let's say the reverb's doing its job. Another great repair. Well, that's a wrap on the Fender Super Reverb repair. Actually a fairly simple job this time, but sometimes those noise issues can really throw you for a spin. Now, some of you have been saying, hey, what happened to tube amp theater and all the little gags that you do, Terry? Well, you know what? I've been really busy between the day job and these things coming through the door, and I want to kick them out quickly, so I have not had time to do those little skits. I'm sorry. We'll get back to it. But for now, they have fallen into the black hole.